How's it going, everyone? Simon here from CD Revival, and here we are in February already. So yeah, starting to go very quickly already, and I'm doing my first update of the year. I haven't done an update since November, I think, so I didn't really buy much during November, December because of Christmas, etc., etc. So yeah, January I've gone maybe a little bit mad. I've bought stuff, quite a bit of stuff. And yeah, quite a lot of good stuff. A few fillery bits, I suppose, but we'll go through what I've got. There is quite a lot to get through today, so we'll crack on with that, and I'll show you, parade my wares for you. So first of all, we start off with the new Green Day album, Saviours, which came out on the 19th of January, and a bit of a return to form, this one. Since their last album was pretty awful, to be honest with you. This one is a lot better. American Dream is killing me. Some good songs on here. Things like Goodnight Adelaine's one of my favourites. Adeline, should I say. Strange Days Are Here to Stay. Saviours is a good track as well. Dilemma's pretty good. But yeah, not necessarily their best album ever. A reasonable return to form after the complete fucking abortion that was Father of All, and if you're a Green Day fan, then it's well worth checking out. So yeah, pretty decent. Pretty decent album. That's Green Day Saviour, so that's a brand new album. Next up we have got this one, Ghost. This is the Pope Star EP, so a slightly older one. It's got the track Square Hammer on it, and 4 other covers. Nocturnal Me, which is a Echo and the Bunnymen cover. You've got Missionary Man, which is a Eurythmics one. I'm not a great fan of covers, generally speaking. These ones are okay. 2016 this one came out, or was that 2018? Either way. Yeah, I'm not a great fan of covers, to be honest with you. Ghost are, they like an EP full of covers. This one's okay. Bible, the last track's probably the best one, which is not a track that I've heard. The other ones are okay. So $2.99, it hit the sweet spot for me for that price. I wouldn't pay full price for it, but I like Ghost, do you know what I mean? I've got all their albums, but I say their EPs are a little bit hit and miss. But this one, say for $2.99, I was pretty happy with that. So we picked that up. Next one, Great White, Once Bitten. Not a bad album, a decent enough rock album. This is part of the classic rock series, which honestly I'm not overly sure where that originated from. I've got a few of these now. I've got this one, I've got UFO's Force It, I've got a Man of War one as well. Could be Battle Hymns, I think, but they're all on this sort of classic rock series. I tried to have a quick look on the internet last night to find out, what the fuck, basically, what the story is behind them, but couldn't really find anything out. So if anyone knows, let me know. They certainly hold their value as much as the original versions do as well, so that's kind of good. I think CDs are starting to sort of go up in price a little bit now, I've noticed. So certainly ones that are a bit harder to find are definitely more expensive than they were, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago. So it's kind of a case of like, try and pick stuff up now while it's not too dear. But anyway, quite happy to pick this one up, bit of a rarity. Once Bitten, so a decent enough album. Next one I have got is Keeper of the Seven Keys, The Legacy by Helloween. Slowly starting to get the whole Helloween collection together. This one's a double CD. Once again, quite a tricky one to get hold of. This is a gatefolds, like digipack kind of thing. Bit overblown an album, say double CD. It's got some quite long tracks on it, quite proggy, and it's not bad. It's pretty decent. 38, yeah, it's about 70 odd minutes, so not super long for a double CD. This one came out in 2005. Once again, it's not their best album, but I say quite tricky to get hold of these days, and I was happy to pick that up for I don't know, about £5 or something like that, so pretty reasonable. Next one, UF Orb by The Orb, ambient kind of electronic, housey, dubby kind of stuff. I really like this album. It's probably my favourite album of theirs. This one's got the Blue Room on it, obviously not the 45-minute version of the Blue Room, which I do have on the single. Towers of Dub as well is really cool. Majestic's a really good track. Close Encounters is a really good album. This, if you like electronic music, strongly recommend you check that one out. Really, really good. This one, another tricky one to get. This is Sig Sig Sputnik's Pirate Space. This is one of their later albums. I had to import this Auf Deutschland because it was pretty much, yeah, couldn't get it here. And when did this come out? I think it's around the sort of 2000 mark. Literally doesn't say, probably should know. Anyway, slightly different to their earlier 80s output, if you're familiar with Sig Sig Sputnik at all. You probably, not many people are. But yeah, a good album, this one. So slightly different. It's a bit more modern sounding than their 80s output. And yeah, quite tricky to get hold of. So I imported this from Germany. And yeah, been listening to it. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. I've had this in the car for the last week basically. So I'm enjoying it. It's pretty decent actually. Next one, DJ Shadow, introducing classic kind of album, sampley. It's not like rappy based, yeah, sample based instrumentals really. Pretty funky, bit of a classic album. Yeah, worth checking out if you like that sort of thing. Next, some metal. This is Skull Fist. They're like a new wave of traditional heavy metal kind of band, so old school style but newish. I think this may be their first or second album. Chasing the Dream, this one's called. 2014 this came out. Really, really good. If you like sort of traditional metal, you know, no messing around. Yeah, superb. Really, really good album. Good musicianship and just a good, fun, heavy metal album. Strongly recommend that one. An older one now, Ooh Crikey, It's Lawnmower Death. You may remember them if you're old enough. Pretty much standard thrash with a sort of comedy edge. Some tracks very, very quick, very quickly. Probably sort of Stormtroopers of Death-esque kind of band, I suppose. But yeah, pretty cool. Remember this from when I was at school pretty much, and once again it's a tricky one to get hold of. I've been getting hold of a few that are a bit rarer these days, and this one definitely comes under that umbrella. So yeah, English band, Ooh Crikey, It's Lawnmower Death. They've done a few albums. They did an album a couple of years ago, Blunt Cutters as well, but this is the original one. Their first album is you know, kind of funny, and you know, there's some good stuff on here. Next one is Children by the Mission. Good old gothic rock. Tower of Strength is the key track on here. Very, very good. Some other good stuff on here as well. But yeah, decent album if you want sort of gothy, you know, overblown. You know, this is once again from the 80s. 1988 this album came out, so yeah, it's been out a while. And yeah, my friend of mine had it when I was at school, but yeah, it's a good album from the Mission. Next one, a bit of a rarity from Public Enemy, Revolvolution. This one is a bit of a compilation. There's some new stuff on here, like the title track and Got to Give the Peeps What They Need, etc. But there's also some remixes of older stuff, like remixes of By the Time We Get to Arizona, and some live stuff, like Fight the Power, My Uzi Weighs a Ton, etc. So yeah, a good mix of old, remixed and live on here, and once again a trickier one to get nowadays, so pretty happy to get that. Next one, Taiketo, Don't Come Easy. This one came out in 1991, so tail end of the sort of glam pop rock kind of era. A good album. Probably would have done a lot better if it didn't come out when it did come out, if you know what I mean. If it had come out sort of 1988, it would have been, I think, a lot more popular. But yeah, sort of Bon Jovi-esque. It's got that kind of, yeah, like light rock, sort of glammy. It's not too glammy, but a decent album. Once again, tricky to get hold of. Happy to get this one. Once again, this came from Germany. Originally cost 29.99 Deutschmarks, which I'm not sure what that means in today's money. Stone Sour, Hydrograd. This is their last album, I believe. I do like Stone Sour. Probably prefer them to Slipknot, to be brutally honest with you. I might have said that before. It's a bit more melodic, a bit more enjoyable to listen to, although I do like Slipknot's last album as well. But yeah, good album, Hydrograd from Stone Sour. Another classic from the 70s, New York Dolls, their self-titled debut album. A classic album, Personality Crisis. The start track is probably their most famous, but good stuff. Next one is Homogenic from Bjork. It's their third studio album. Thought I had this but didn't, so picked it up. Some good stuff on it. It's a bit more classical on here. So you've got like Hunter, Yoga, Bachelorette, Alarm Call, All Is Full of Love. They're probably the most famous tracks on here, but I do really like her stuff, and this is a really good album with some really good stuff on it. So if you like Bjork, you're probably familiar with that anyway. Mastodon, Emperor of Sand, might be their album before their most recent one, but I'm not too sure. Did quite like this one. Once again, they're a band that take quite a few listens to get into. Need to get some more of their albums as well, but once again, you need to listen to their albums quite a few times to really get into them. But this is a good one. Do enjoy this one. This is a re-release of the classic first album by Zig Zig Sputnik, so it's their first album, Flaunt It, plus another 3 CDs of like remixes, B-sides, and the 4th disc is Live at Abbey Road. I'm not going to get it all out because it is a pain in the arse to get back in, but yeah, you can see there's 4 discs, so you get a booklet with it as well, and I seem to have now got it out, so that's fucked my day right up. We'll put that away later, but yeah, really good stuff. Been after this for a while, to be honest with you, and yeah, happy to have that. Annoying. Next, Hendrix, Band of Gypsies. Good album. Got most of his stuff, to be honest with you. This one's sort of live on stage at the Fillmore. One of the last things he did. It's got Machine Gun on it, Who Knows, as well, which are both superb tracks. Slightly longer, more drawn out sort of jams on this one, but still excellent. Adam and the Ants, should I say, Kings of the Wild Frontier, second album by him, a bit of a classic, and was massive Adam and the Ants fan when I was a kid. This is like the remastered version, and yeah, some quite heavy guitar stuff on here, on things like Killer in the Home and Magnificent Five and Ants Invasion, for example. The guitar work is pretty crunchy, and but yeah, it's an absolute classic album. All the songs are pretty amazing on here, to be honest with you. So yeah, superb album, Adam and the Ants, Kings of the Wild Frontier, from 1981 maybe it came out. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Next, couple of others from the new wave of traditional heavy metal. We've got White Wizard, who are a really good band who I've got into recently. This one's Over the Top. We have still got loads of stuff to get through here. It's taking, you know, a long time. Over the Top, yeah, really good album. Crunchy, new wave, yeah, just classic metal. Strongly recommend that one. And Infernal Overdrive, this is a more recent one. This is 2018. Tracks on here like quite long, quite, yeah, no, I wouldn't say necessarily proggy, but yeah, they're longer tracks. This one really good as well. Both excellent albums. Another one which is really hard to get, Vane and Fade. Massive fan of Vane, and there's a lot of their albums which are well out of, well, I say they're not well out of my price range, but do you want to pay £60 for a CD? Because, you know, stuff like Enough Rope and yeah, their most recent one, Rolling with the Punches, really expensive and hard to get. This one I've seen like for a lot more than I paid for it, to be honest with you. I think it's maybe their third or fourth album, not too sure. Either way, it's a great album, as all Vane stuff is. This is from 1997, and if you like that sort of glam rock kind of thing, then this is well worth checking out. They're one of the great glam bands, to be honest with you. It's criminal that they weren't much bigger. Next one, Public Image Limited, Happy. It's the one that came after the classic album with Steve Vai, etc. This one not quite as good. Once again, quite tricky to get hold of. Seattle was the big single on this one. The Body was a single as well. I really like Fat Chance Hotel. I do like it. I think it's a good album. Next we have this one. I paid 50p. Brian May, Back to the Light. It's Driven by You's on here, which is quite famous, and Too Much Love Will Kill You as well. I've not checked out the rest of the album yet, but Cozy Powell features on a track as well. So that's that. Next we have the Grease soundtrack. Enough Said, classic. Used to have this on record when I was an absolute kid. It's the soundtrack to Grease. I need to say no more. This one's a bit of a lesson in check what you're buying. This one, to be honest with you, only cost me 50p. Thought I was buying Eurythmics Touch, which has got some classic tracks on it. Here Comes the Rain Again, but it's not actually that. Inside is Substance by New Order, which is like a greatest hits package of theirs, which is also a decent CD, which I don't have, but at the same time it's a bit like, what do I do? I've got the cover for one, I've got the CD for another. It'll probably just live in my car, and you know, we'll try and forget that it ever happened. But if you're an OCD kind of guy like me, it's going to bother you. Next one, Bangarang by Skrillex. Dubstep, dancey, pretty good stuff, to be honest with you, quite hard hitting. This is a 7-track EP, and yeah, pretty decent. Now we have Rolling Stones Singles Collection, London Years. This was £1. It's 3 discs. It's in pretty much mint condition. It's yeah, just a bunch of singles that came out in the first, I don't know, 10 years, I guess, up to Sympathy for the Devil, I think it goes up to. But £1, 3 CDs, Rolling Stones Singles Collection, London Years. Very happy with that. This one, Rod Stewart. I don't own any Rod Stewart CDs, but now I do. This one was once again, I don't know, 50p a pound maybe. Footloose and Fancy Free. It's a 70s album, I believe. This one's got Hot Legs on it. Saying 2000, but obviously it came 1977 was the original release date. Keep Me Hanging On's on here as well. But yeah, Rod Stewart, looking very attractive, as only Rod Stewart can. Not so much these days. But anyway, that one. Next, Cream, Wheels of Fire, 2-disc edition. So this has got the disc 1 in the studio, disc 2 is the live, Crossroads, Spoonful, and Train Time and Toad. But it's got White Room on the studio stuff as well. But yeah, fan of Cream. Didn't have this one, so was happy to get that. £1. Complete Stone Roses, £1. Picked it up. I've got both their albums, to be honest with you, and I kind of like them. But yeah, so grabbed it anyway. Shaman by Santana. Not overly familiar with this one, but it was cheap, so once again, it seems to have a lot of guests on here, like things like Dido and Placido Domingo randomly, so might be quite interesting to check out. It's probably complete garbage, let me know. This one I already had, but this is the 2 CD version. So this is U2 Best of 1980 to 1990. So early singles, but this one is the 2 disc edition with the B-sides on it as well. It's got silver and gold, the studio version of that. So I was pretty happy to pick that up. I say once again, it was only £1, so for the 2 disc edition, I was happy to pick that up. Green Day International Super Hits, just the greatest hits basically. Didn't have it, so picked it up. Why not? It's always nice to have a greatest hits kicking about. Over halfway through now. This is Pieces in a Modern Style by William Orbit. Adagio for strings is probably the most famous work on here, but it's basically sort of classical but dancey stuff. Haven't checked the full album out yet. Club hits of the 90s, anyone? I think this one and the William Orbit one and something else were in a sort of 3 for £1 actually, so I think that's why I grabbed this one. Was a bit of a make weight. It's got Ebenezer Good by the Shaman on it, High State of Consciousness by Josh Wink. That's actually a pretty banging track, so probably worth it just for that. Next one, another Cream one, which I do already own the original standard version of it. This is Disraeli Gears. This is the double CD version. So it's got like the original, it's got the stereo mix and the mono mix and a bunch of unreleased tracks, if you like, demos and what have you. I say do already own the original, but this was £1, so it was a no-brainer to grab that again. Another one which I already own the original is Red Hot Chili Peppers Mother's Milk. This is the remastered version. So it's got a bunch of bonus tracks on it, 5 or 6 bonus tracks. So yeah, I was happy to get that again. This is, you know, the Prince Sign of the Times is the 3rd copy of this that I own. This is the, honestly, I just buy shit, man. This is 2 disc version, but I've got the fat box already. I've got the super deluxe edition. This is the sort of 2 CD in 1 CD case. So I bought it just because I'm a massive fan, and it's a different version to the 2 that I've already got. Next we have Phil Collins' hits. I've got his solo albums. This has got stuff like You Can't Hurry Love and Easy Lover, which aren't on the albums. Probably some other stuff as well. Separate Lives, I think. So grab that. Childish Gambino, his first album, Camp. I haven't actually checked this out yet. Really like Because the Internet, which I haven't got, but this one I have got. So Donald Glover, To His Friends. But yeah, hopefully he's pretty cool. This one's a bit of a blast from the past. Different Light by the Bangles. I think this was like just after Christmas I got this, when there wasn't really too much stuff kicking about. And I was starting to get withdrawal symptoms, so I was just picking up any old shit. But to be fair, this has got Manic Monday on it, Walk Like an Egyptian, etc, etc. It's the Bangles. It's a classic album, probably. Oh shit, my tower's falling over. Everything seems to be in order. Missy Elliott, Under Construction. I think it's their first album. This has got Work It on it and stuff. This is at the same time that I bought the Bangles. It was, yeah, once again, I was just getting withdrawals from not buying CDs. So, Chili Peppers, What Hits. There's a couple of tracks on here that aren't on the albums. Fire, I think that's on the Abbey Road EP. Show Me Your Soul, I think. Get Up and Jump, maybe. I think that's on their first album. Either way, it's kind of a greatest hits, but the greatest hits from their first sort of 4 or 5 albums. Regardless of that, I picked that up. This one's awful. This was like, they were like 5 for £1 or something. The ultimate 80s power ballads. Honestly, it's complete, well, it's not complete shit, but There's some bad stuff on here, man. Some good stuff, but some bad stuff. It's got the Proclaimers, Letter from America, which is, you know, Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. There's the track listing if you're vaguely interested, but yeah, I don't know why I was... We got it. Another best of, Radiohead, best of. Decent stuff on here. Nothing I haven't got already, quite honestly, but... you know, it's a thing. Electribe 101. Dancey stuff from, I don't know when, early 90s I would imagine. Need to give this a listen. This one was from the 5 for £1 as well. This one actually looks pretty decent. Space themes. So this one's got like theme from E.T., Star Wars theme, Close Encounters, Battlestar Galactica, Flash from Flash Gordon, Cantina Band from Star Wars, Desert theme from Dune. This was basically why I bought the 5 for £1, because I kind of wanted this one. So I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna have to, you know, pad it out a bit. But yeah, space themes. I think they're the original versions as well. I haven't even checked it out yet, but space fucking themes, man. This one's another one that was included in that deal. 25 years of #1 hits. There's obviously a series. This is 1978, 79, 80. So it's got some classics on here. But it has got When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman by Dr. Hook. So worth it. This one was in the deal also, not really sure. Physical Fatness, Fat Music Volume 3. It's got things like No FX and Snuff on here, and some other bands that I've not heard of. But yeah, we don't really know. That's basically it. A Bon Jovi album that I don't got, Lost Highway. So some bargains were had, I guess. Another Eurythmics one. This has actually got the correct CD in the box. Savage. This has got Beethoven on it. I love this too. And it's got You Placed a Chill in My Heart and I Need a Man, which are probably the famous singles from it. So yeah, that's Eurythmics Savage. We are really nearly done now. We have got a special surprise at the end. This one is Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Frank Goes to Hollywood. Big fan of theirs, already own the CD, already own the vinyl. I've got the picture disc vinyl as well. This one's a slightly different variant to the one that I've got. And we have Calvin Harris, I Created Disco. This is his first album. This has got Acceptable in the 80s on it. And yeah, I think it's an okay album actually. It's quite good in a retro dancey way. Case is completely shagged, but that's that. And last is Greatest Hits from Blink 182. And yeah, so that was that. So that's my massive wedge of CDs. The last thing that I've said I've got is a bit of a surprise, which I got as a Christmas present, is Iron Maiden Top Trumps. I don't know if you're familiar with Top Trumps. If you're British and of a certain age, you certainly will be. But it's basically a card game, and there's all sorts of various themes. You know, you can get like football players and what have you. This is Iron Maiden, as the name suggests. So you get the cards, and this is basically themed around their like albums / singles. So you can see there, you know, you've got the various albums, and it tells you the year released, what it got to in the charts, UK charts, the fear factor, whatever that means, the power, whatever that means, and the Iron Maiden fan club rating. So you just kind of play each other, you know, but it's pretty fucking cool as far as I'm concerned. Iron Maiden Top Trumps, available on Amazon. check them out if you're a fan of that sort of thing. Certainly if you're a Maiden fan, they might be up your street. So yeah, that's that, and that's my Giga update for early February. So that's basically all the stuff that I bought during January, which is a fair amount. I have got a few bits coming which didn't arrive in time, so we'll do them on the next one. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff coming for next time also. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you've been buying lots of stuff yourselves, and yeah, hope you've had a good year so far. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate every view that I get, and any comments that you want to put down are always well received. So even if they're bad, which, you know, some people, you know, want to slag you off, which is fine, absolutely fine. Take it steady. Catch you all next time. See ya. Ta-da.